And welcome to the Writers' Corner live show. On the show, we connect authors from around the globe to each other and to their readers. On the Writers' Corner live show, you will meet both seasoned as well as new and aspiring authors. And our featured author for this week is Brian L. Tucker. Combining his love for the ocean and the messaging of anti-bullying, he wrote The Scary Grey Shark, showcasing how a shark might handle adversity at sea. Don't go away. We will be right back. If you're just joining us, welcome to the show. I'm your host, Bridgetti Limbanda. I'm a live video talk show host and producer. I'm passionate about social needs such as the water and energy crisis and special needs education, as well as responsible social media advocacy. On this show, we bring you the backstories of authors and aspiring authors. And my co-host is Mary Elizabeth Jackson. She's the award-winning author of the children's Poolicious book series, and she's also working on a movie screenplay. Her book comes out today, isn't it, Mary?
Well, it's soon. It's sometime in the next week or two. Yes.
And Mary is also a wife and mom to 3 humans who inspire her, and she's a special needs and disabilities advocate. She lives in Nashville in the USA, and I'm in Cape Town in South Africa. So let us know when you joining, where in the world you are watching from. We always love to know. Mary, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm doing well. So excited to be here. And I'm so excited about our author. So he and I got to meet about 1.5 years ago, and he is super great. And I'm so excited for him to be here. And I can't wait for him to talk to us about his book. And, bullying is a really hot subject, and it's a button in our country and actually all over the world. So,
everywhere.
Everywhere. So his book, which should do well everywhere that it, all over the world. And hopefully, kids will not be too afraid. No, I'm kidding, because sharks, but it's great. I love it. I love that because kids relate so much to animals. And I think some of my favorite movies, some of my favorite stories have animals playing the part of the characters. And so kids can really relate to all that so much more than they can to humans.
Absolutely. Yeah. So a little bit about our author. Brian is an academic advisor in Charleston, South Carolina in the USA. And for more than half a decade, he has written books in a variety of genres, including 2 young adult novels, an illustrated historical novella, a poetry chapbook, and a short story collection. Brian has a Master's of Fine Arts in Creative Writing from the Bluegrass Writer Studio in Eastern Kentucky in the USA. He lives in West Ashley in the US with his wife and daughter, and he says he enjoys Saturdays with them as well as their rescue cat, Jody. And so combining his love for the ocean with the messaging of anti-bullying, as we said, he wrote the book The Scary Grey Shark, which debuted on the 2nd of January this year with Black Rose Writing, showcasing how a shark might handle adversity at sea. So shall we invite him onto the show?
Yes.
Let's do.
Hi, Brian.
Good morning. Hello. How are you all?
Oh, we're good. I want you to talk to everybody about, Bridgetti's reading your bio and everything, and you have so many different genres that you've written in. And I think that's important for you to discuss here. I mean, for me, I know for me it is because I am in children's, but I will branch out, because I have other things that to write about that are calling. And
Right.
So what is that like writing in different genres? Do you have a different publisher for your different genres, which is another great question for people out there that are looking, because a lot of people there are a lot of people who write the same genre and that's what they stay with. And it does make life a lot easier, I think.
Definitely.
But then you've got those of us that creativity is like, whack, it's
That's the best way to describe it.
Yeah, just like an explosion of ideas and thoughts and loves and passions, and it's like, how do you do all this?
Exactly.
So that, I think that I would love for you to start there, because you do kind of cover a wide variety of things in your writing.
Yeah, definitely. I do appreciate you guys having me, on again, and congrats to your book coming out so soon. It's
So exciting.
it's like, yeah, having a baby birth into the world, and that's probably the best description. This from 2014, as Bridgetti was saying, to present, it's hard for me to stay in the same headspace too long, and like you said, it can make life a whole lot easier if you're writing a serial, or in the case of comic books, something that runs from edition to edition. But creativity pulls me in a lot of different ways, and so from the story collection in 2014 to now with the Scary Gray Shark with children's fiction, it's exciting that there's so many different mediums and genres we can use now, and with technology, the ability to connect talent around the world, illustrators from all over, ideas for stories. For me, the story, I might have an idea and generate it, work through so many drafts, and then the connection could already be being formed with someone halfway around the world to say, hey, I want to work with you on this project. And it's really made it, I think, great for those of us that are impatient. And I struggle with, the ability to sit still for too long. So from 2014 to present, and when I was last getting to talk with you guys, it was we were living in Chattanooga, my wife and I, and we've had a daughter since then. And when we all met, it was in Nashville at the book festival.
Mm-hmm.
And we've moved since then to Charleston, South Carolina. So a lot of exciting things just from idea to idea, with the ability to connect with people around the world for these ideas.
Yeah, it's awesome. Very awesome. So how many, what age grade range is the book good for?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So this one's we're saying 3 to 8. So it kind of works well for those that are, developing reading skills. We have, some of the text is a little bit larger across the page and bordering on a paragraph at times. So we say 3 to 8. My daughter tried to eat her first copy. We realized halfway through the book, I barely made it halfway, that we'll save it for when she's a little bit older. She's just now 1.5 years.
So it can look like a shark ate it.
Exactly. Yeah, that was the joke. Was in the book I put in the dedications section that it's for her first shark encounter, because when she was developing, she was constantly swimming. And I'm sure that was very uncomfortable for my wife. Yeah.
I like that. I totally like that. I want to say welcome to our audience on Facebook, and also to our audience on LinkedIn. Thank you for joining us live. So Brian, the Scary Gray Shark, how did that story come about? What was it that made you want to write about bullying?
I think when we learned we were having a daughter for me instead of a son, and we joked back and forth about this is going to be a different learning curve, and I got to be okay with that. And thought about then, maybe what she would encounter when she grew and was a little bit older. The topic of bullying, originally I'd thought shark, and you have the dolphin, which is the kind of assistant and the mother figure, and just even had Jody in there. You mentioned the rescue cat earlier. I had her with snorkeling capabilities in the first draft of the book. I thought that might be a bit too far of a stretch, having a cat with snorkeling gear attached to the shark fin. So scaled back and kept Zella as the central shark, and Leah as the dolphin.
Interesting. I mean, the shark and the dolphin, the two meeting up, and you using those two to help people see that, or help them find ways of dealing with bullying. It's a very real thing, whether you, and it's not just for kids at school.
Right.
Bullying is something that carries on right throughout your life, and the effects thereof carries on right throughout your life. And you have bullying in the workplace, and
Exactly.
adults that don't know how to deal with bullying. I mean, I know people that has left their workplace because they couldn't deal with bullying from colleagues,
Mm.
from supervisors. It's a very real problem, and I think it's something we don't talk about often enough. I
Hmm.
don't think people are too embarrassed to say that I'm being bullied.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
You know?
it goes across genders and, working with animals, as you said, pets, uh, young readers connect so quickly to that. And I try to think of what was more universally feared and bullied in the realm of oceanic life than a bull shark, and the idea that one would not be ferocious but timid, outwardly ferocious and look with the teeth going every which way, but how to make it so that the Zella is more humane and in a lot of ways less scary than the family of dolphins that she swims into with when she.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Everybody
So
thinks
they,
dolphins and they're cuddly, you know.
oh, yeah, right, exactly. So the other thing that's kind of interesting is you're in people who want to write may not think about this. Your marketing has to be completely different
Yeah.
for pretty much your age range, and your genre. It's a whole different world. And I'm saying that because I'm in it. So it's because you got to get to the kids, but you have to get to the parents as well, to have them see it and fall in love with it and see the purpose of it and want to buy it and want it to be a
Exactly.
part of their children's lives. So there is a whole different marketing situation that goes with that.
Yeah, definitely. And
Yeah.
as you've done, I mean, with children's books, if you write from that space of, it starts out maybe as a labor of love and it's tied to the family. I really didn't start like thinking marketing until, after I'd seen that it was a real thing and, that Zella would one day get to read it. And it was kind of like, okay, that's great. Everything else is just, icing on the cake. But you're right. It's totally different for how to promote something. And often it is to the parents first. And the parents, this in the case of the Scary Gray Shark, coming out post Christmas, right after New Year's. It really was a good timeline for when people were wanting mailings and how to get advanced reader copies out to those folks, putting them under the trees in advance, that sort of thing.
Oh, right. Gotcha. Yeah. No, that was good then. I know, and timing is everything. That's another point because, when Bridgetti and I interview authors, we like to give your story and your book and everything, but also as much information as,
Sure.
and advice, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah. So that's another thing to consider. What is the best time of year for a book to be let out, and released? That's a tough one also.
Yeah, you and I, and we've worked together through Black Rose and seeing on a publisher's timeline where it'll be placed and knowing when to get everything in alignment with that date. Pokeweed coming out in fall and working into school systems versus, in this case for me with the Scary Gray Shark, a lot of it comes back to it's set for January. If you have a book coming out, and this is for anyone, trying to set the stage so that it can see as much success as possible by putting as many feelers out there and letting people know about it. And if you're able to give advanced copies, to give those and to share it as much as possible.
Absolutely.
Timing. Your websites, if you have your own personal website, and my recommendation would be if you have that or you generate your own website to put that on there as much as, people talk about platforms, but just trying to do what works best for you. If like I'm not a big Twitter user, but so if that's not a strength, I try to play to the others that work a little bit better for me. And maybe, for those watching, if you are a Twitter user and you understand every single bit of hashtagging that goes on during the day, then that could be a real strength for getting recognition for that book or project.
So, Brian, who's your inspiration for becoming a writer in the first place? I always like to know that, because
Yeah.
we all have a book in us, but not all of us put pen to paper. What was it that motivated you to get started as an author? Because once you've started,
Uh-huh.
it's easier from there to just keep going. But what was it that propelled you into writing in the first place, and who kept you there?
Well, I think you asked me that on, and it's so fitting for with Pokeweed being an illustrated historical novella to now writing what you know is sometimes cliche, but if I could take you to on that trip to where I'm from, it my hometown really it just exudes stories, storytellers, a lot of that oral tradition, and people would sit on the porch and want to talk about what happened during the day, and that's something I still look forward to is getting to talk with family and friends who are like, well, guess what happened to me the other day, and it could turn into an all afternoon or evening bit of back and forth, joking, laughing, because things just seem so surreal, and the best fiction is what we see in our everyday lives right now. So it's just great to kind of separate from all of the distractions during the day and have that time with family and friends. And where I'm from in southern Kentucky, right on the Kentucky-Tennessee line, we information didn't travel as fast, and especially growing up for me in the 90s going into the 2000s, it allowed for you to develop those friendships and relationships on a much deeper level than what the way we're kind of pulled for a million different things now that distract us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you hoping at some point to become a full-time author, or is this something that you want to do part-time?
I think I like not knowing what's ahead in terms of writing process. As we were talking before the show even started about this new one that will have a different illustrator, and it's a basketball narrative told in verse, and it's illustrated. So just trying to get all the pieces together. But I had a side story again, the stories of people we know. I had a teammate I lost when we were in high school, and that connected so deeply that a lot of times anytime I write from a young adult perspective, I always think about that when there's a sport involved, is the idea of Harrison and what happened. So that basketball story keeps me going because I'm definitely interested in the material, and if you're a writer or wanting to be a writer, that's something that you got to lead with your interest, and then the research and all that other stuff comes later, but it's really it's what drives the first draft.
And how did you choose your illustrators? I mean, you don't just open up the yellow pages and say, okay, well, I think you're a good illustrator. How did you decide on your illustrator for each book?
There was with Katerina.Naboya, I mean, she's amazing, and you could go to her website, and on .naboya.com, you can see her portfolio. And I found her kind of luck of the draw with some of those artist for hire sites that are out there. She was on, I believe that one was on. It was on Fiverr, and she had a rate that was technically higher than she would normally even consider projects, but she really liked the idea, and she offered to do twice as many sketches at a lower rate. And for me, that was just ideal for carrying a Western idea in Hazard, Kentucky. So that was perfect. And then when I told her I was wanting to dedicate one to our daughter at the time, she said, I love Oceanic tales. And she's like, let me send you some color sketching and design for what that story became. So it's really, sometimes can be hit or miss, but with her, it was 2 for 2. I was, just amazed with the work she did. And now kind of on a short leash, with the next project, because she said she wouldn't be able to commit. And, there were some health issues. So I was wanting to honor, what we did together, and then try to move into someone that really can capture the basketball story.
It's really hard. It's hard to find a good illustrator. I mean, I'm absolutely in love with, mine for all these three books. I just think she is the bomb diggity. And she is, she's very busy and she works a full-time job. She's doing some illustrations actually for Southern Yellow Pine Press. I always say that backwards. And they're down in Florida, and I'm excited for her. And so, like, where I'm moving into is I have another book coming out the end of this year. It's a middle grade reader, and my daughter, who's 16, is an absolutely incredible artist. She is doing the graphic novel design for that. So she's doing it all on her iPad.
Okay.
And they're totally different than anything I've ever done or had in a book. So I'm very excited about it coming to fruition.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Every day I'm like, are you working? Are you drawing?
You have twice as much leverage to
here's some food. I'm going to feed you, you draw, right? So, there's that kind of funny thing going on with us. But I do know that
report back to me, at any time.
Right, yes, I'm not feeding you until you draw today. But the other thing is looking into anybody out there looking for illustrators. You can contact art colleges and art schools.
Definitely.
Sometimes you can find a really good illustrator there who they may not necessarily charge you because they want to get published, but you could put them on a contract with you and they could get royalties that way. So that's a way to get an artist or illustrator out into the world. So that's another thing that can be done as well.
Idea. Yeah, the portfolio that they get to build while developing as an artist. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But it is kind of like we hang on to them. We're like, we love you because I can't draw a stick figure. Right. So can you please help me?
Don't go anywhere. I've seen what mine look like in the illustrations and they're not great.
You're right.
Brian, is there a favorite part in the book that you could read for us?
Sure. Yeah. I love it's kind of right in the description leading into what would be the climax of the book, and she designed the preliminary Zella moments in anticipation of revealing the friendliness and the fact that bullying isn't needed at all because she's just outwardly scary. I love this one. It says she frowned as she swam in the warm summer waves, crooked teeth pointing every which way, north, south, east, and west. And I love that she put, throughout the book, jellyfish and smaller fish that were
beautiful. She did a great job. That's really beautiful illustration. Absolutely. That's so cool. Yay. Well, congratulations to her.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
So where can people find your books?
Yeah. I told you before Christmas, I felt like I was, those requests, I want it under the tree. I want it under the tree for this many kids. Where can I go to? Pre-orders through Black Rose Writing, and now they have it fixed on their site as a children's book under children's fiction, and obviously Amazon or anywhere. And bookstores can order it. So I'm trying to do more events here in Charleston. Being relatively new, we moved in June of last year. So right now, the connections that we had formed in Chattanooga with going and doing book events and having book supply orders and things, that was all already there, having been there as long as we were. So I'm trying to establish those connections better in Charleston, South Carolina, and the ability just to travel around, go back home, to have things in bulk already ordered. But anyone who's looking to get the book can go either on an online store or have it sent directly to a bookstore.
Or they can find it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, online, that kind of stuff. So
exactly, for Kindle, Nook, all that. Yeah.
Right. So look into creative things to do for children. I know that I'm getting ready to do an event once this is ready with actually a restaurant, which is kind of cool. They make that after their 6-year-old daughter. They're putting in a bakery and they're going to have baking classes. So we're going to do a combination baking class, book reading kind of thing. So something just a little bit different than what I've done before. So, you have to really get creative, especially when you're doing things with children's books.
Exactly. I work at a college, and it with higher education, the events for young adult novels would flow much more easily. But again, going back to what you said with genre and demand, the marketing side is totally different. So for children's fiction at a collegiate library, as opposed to at somebody's house or in a a storefront that would really connect to it. Museums, for example, aquariums are kind of ideal for this type of book. So I'm trying to get all of those things in order in the new year.
Yes, and if you ever come into Nashville, then you should call Opryland, the Opryland Mall, because they've got the aquarium, that restaurant there. So
yeah, I love that place.
Yeah.
it's again forming new routes for this type of thing and getting word out, just like today, of where it's at, what it's about. And I've submitted it for some recent, contests and awards, as I'm sure we're more well versed in this for, children's fiction than I am, but there's certain ones I've sent it out to just since Christmas to try and also share it with others.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so Tony wants to know, are you going to release a digital version of your book?
Yes, so there is the digital version is available. You can find that one with any kind of store opting for e-reading. There isn't an audible version yet, or an audio constructed edition of the Scary Gray Shark, but that is something I would like to get in the works soon.
Awesome. And Brigetti probably wants to know this too. Anybody who's wanting to publish poetry or short stories, what advice do you have for them?
Pray long and hard. No, for the stories, Baptisms and Dogs, in 2014, I went the route of submitting them individually to each specific and best fit that I could find for publishing houses, and a lot of journals, magazines, you name it. They are out there online and in print still some. And the best thing I found was to get them individually picked up in places, and then to package them all together with the ability to broadcast where they were first published. Poetry can be a similar thing. I learned a lot of what to do and more not to do in poems, but Beach Poems came out in 2019. And that for me, again, kind of like the Scary Gray Shark, I've always been enamored with the water and all that idea generation that can come from a place that, just you can look at the, beauty around you and just take it all in and start writing things in a notebook. And Beach Poems was that way as well. I had some put into journals, and then I ended up self-pubbing that one. I really a novice in the poetry game, so I didn't expect it to bring down the banners.
Oh my goodness. Tony, Brian, it's been wonderful having you as a guest on the show. And we really look forward to we really look forward to inviting you back again sometime in the future to hear how things are going.
Sounds
and
great.
To hear how the book has done, in the next few months. And hopefully by the time we have you back on, your daughter will have progressed from wanting to chew the book to actually read it.
Yeah, I meant to have, here we go. I had a picture. Let's see. This is this one's in black and white, so it's not as good. But I had, so there she is. There's Zella, that face, if you can see it.
Oh gosh, that's why I wrote Perfectly Precious Delicious. Those chubby cheeks, they're full of mommy's kisses. Oh my God.
Yeah. So she's not quite up to, but she loves books. And I think that's another thing is, for those of us that, grew up on Book It or programs that just said read books every single day. It's so great to bring that to family time and to have story time each day. And I'm excited to see where all this goes. And I'm excited for your book, and I want you guys to, definitely stay in touch. And I look forward to, getting to be with you guys again.
Yeah. How far are you from Nashville?
So
probably 6, 8, 10.
Right. Yeah. So it's about 4 to Atlanta. So I would say 6 and maybe 6.5 hours to Chattanooga. So Nashville would be a little bit further. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. All right. So I was just thinking for, whenever.
Yeah, that's
a children's thing,
Let's try to set something up, and that'd be exciting to do that sometime in 2020. 2020 already having February happen this weekend.
Oh my God.
I know.
January is just like whatever. January.
Yeah, exactly. And if you find, things with, and I think it's so helpful to share, like ideas that are working and not working for each and every project. So as you're working on this middle grade, I might, pick your brain a little bit, as far as how how one thing works for a certain audience. Getting boys to read, that's been a big one for me, is trying to find the middle grade and young adult readers who maybe never thought about it, and then when they finally get exposure to a certain kind of book, they realize they do enjoy reading.
I think that's why the publisher decided to turn it into a graphic novel, because comic books are so popular right now. And even my 16-year-old totally agreed with the changing of it from a regular book to that. Because we just had pencil drawings in there because I wanted it to look like a kid drew it, because it is a kid's book. And so now it's going to be a colorful, graphic novel with like about 200 pictures in it, which hopefully won't take forever.
It can border on half a year delay with just waiting for illustrations to come back. But I mean, it'll be worth it in the end to have image complement the text to that degree, to where you actually can say, I'm drawing, and it's almost like eye candy, right? To have that much visual aid and that much text from page to page.
Absolutely. Yes. So yeah, let's talk about that. So we're so grateful you came on today and, got to share everything, and so excited. I know Bridgetti does too, but I really love when we get to interview authors that their book's just coming out or it's getting ready to come out, and it's like fresh and hot. And it's very exciting.
Yeah, right. It's I feel like I live on not just social media, but checking review sites and trying to host events. And right now it's just that, getting more involved in the community and trying to figure out who really would want this book, because a lot don't know about it, especially the way social media is set up now. The algorithms, you might miss 20 people that really want to read the book and just never see anything pop up on their feed. So it's trying to find those that really would be interested in what you're doing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Brian, thank you so much. It was lovely having you on the show and getting to hear more about your book. And if you're out there in the audience and you have young children are always open to bullying at school, whether it's preschool, whether it's middle school or high school. So get this book out there and empower your little ones so they know how to cope better with bullying. Brian, again, thank you so much. Thank you for watching, everybody. Remember to write good stuff and be inspired one conversation at a time. We'll see you same time next week. Thank you for watching.
Bye-bye.
Bye.